90% of sales training out there makes sales reps worse, not better. And I'm gonna prove that to you in the next 10 minutes by showing you the exact framework that's generated over $100 million in sales for my teams. But before we do that, let me tell you about a sales manager who came to me last month. They were feeling completely defeated. His team had just gone through comprehensive sales training with a big name company, and 6 months later, his close rates actually dropped from 25% to 18%. His reps were confused, his team was divided, and he was about to give up on training altogether. Now here's the thing most people don't understand. There are two critical components to successful sales training. What are those? Well, first, there's the technical side. This is learning how to have great conversations with prospects, develop deep problem awareness, understand what good solutions look like, create urgency really around the gap between where they're at and where they want to be, and then present a compelling solution and handle both logistical, time, money, partner, fear, and emotional objections. Here's the missing piece that most training doesn't have and why it doesn't do as well as it could: the confidence component. The confidence component reinforces your sales reps' confidence, conviction, and genuine belief in helping prospects. And so here's proof that this matters. You can have two sales reps, same words, same script, identical tonality, following the same script perfectly. But one of them barely closes anybody, while the other converts at 30% or more of the prospects they speak to. So what's the difference? It's how they show up on the call. When you show up with authentic confidence, not manic energy, crazy skepticism, but also not looking like someone just stole your dog, and instead you skillfully guide someone through a process that genuinely helps them, that's what creates exceptional sales results and truly helps people. So a great sales training process does both. It increases your rep skills and it builds their confidence, conviction, and energy in how they show up with the prospects. That's what drives high conversions, and you can actually hear it when you listen to their calls. This is interesting. Google did a study, really a series of studies, years ago where they analyzed what factors create the highest customer satisfaction and drives the biggest impact on customer experience and really overall revenue. And what they discovered was fascinating. The interaction customers had with the sales reps and how they communicated had a massive impact on their overall satisfaction with working with the company. And so think about that for a second. A major factor of someone's experience with your company comes down to the conversations the sales reps on your sales team almost equals the experience they have with the product themselves when it comes to how they view you and your company. So if your sales reps are showing up low energy or uncertain, do you think your prospects are going to be excited and confident you have the solution to their problems? No, but most training still focuses only on asking questions where it feels like an interrogation, or hard selling to overcoming objections with logic traps, and that approach completely misses the point. It's not about manipulating prospects with tactics. The best sales isn't sales that is done to someone, it's sales that's done for someone. It's about your reps showing up in a way that authentically reflects your company, your brand, and presents you as someone they genuinely want to do business with while applying solid sales skills. If you don't know me, I'm Will Hinkson. I'm the owner of Hardly Selling, and collectively me and my team have done over $100 million from sales teams under our direct management. And I make these videos because when you do sales right, it helps more people. And there's a specific story about one rep that changed how I think about training forever. See, most sales trainings just dump information on reps like they're filling up a gas tank. Just keep pouring it in until it's full. Just give them more and more and more, right? Your sales rep's brain isn't a gas tank. It's more like a computer with limited RAM. If I load up too many apps all at once and give them too much information, the whole system crashes. Here's the truth. Traditional sales training fails because it violates the most basic principle of human learning. When you give someone like an Instagram feed, constantly going worth of advice, do this, then this, then this, then this, then this, do it this way, this way, this way, like their brain can't process all of it. So what do you do instead of constant corrections and more information? Think of sales kind of like building muscle, right? You don't walk into a gym on day one and then try to deadlift 500 pounds. You start with the bar, maybe some plates on each side, some light plates, perfect your form, and then gradually add more weight, doing the same thing, but adjusting the feedback and the specific techniques. That way you can build up confidence. But most sales training is like throwing a 500-pound barbell at someone and saying, So do it the way that I did it. I lifted this yesterday just like this. You should be able to lift it today just like that. The framework that actually works has 3 core components. So what are those? Well, first, the foundation layer. This starts with outcomes, not techniques. Before teaching your rep how to ask discovery questions, teach them what they're actually trying to discover. So think of this like teaching someone how to fish by first showing them, hey, here's what a good cast looks like. With a cast, what we're trying to do is get far away from the dock into a specific hole. The best holes look like this. Your likelihood of catching a fish in there is much, much higher when you can identify that. Great, good, and here's what a good fish looks like. Here's what we can catch, here's the limit, all of that stuff. Not just handing them a rod and a reel and saying, hey, go fish, right? Or hey, here's a million things we can do on how to fish, go figure it out. That's the first layer. The second layer is the skill building layer. One technique at a time, practice through role play, not theory, right? Because when reps take in too much information all at once, they forget it and they don't know how to apply it. So think of it like learning the piano. You don't learn every song all at once and every day you're learning a brand new song. You mastered Twinkle Twinkle Little Star before attempting Beethoven. And so the third piece of this is the confidence layer. This is the secret sauce. This is what 90% of trainers, both external or internal to the company, miss completely. If you remember that rep I mentioned earlier, her name was Sarah, and she was technically perfect. She knew every objection handling technique, could recite the sales script backwards, forwards, and understood the psychology better than most trainers. But she was closing around 19%, where our average rep was closing at 30%. So what was the difference? Energy and authenticity. Sarah showed up to calls like she needed her 9th cup of coffee. She was either kind of strung out or she sounded like she was like deadpan, no energy whatsoever. And you could tell she was reading from a script because in her mind, she was. All that technical training had turned her into like the sales robot. Does that mean that sales training is bad? No, it's not what I'm saying. Developing skill set is good, but if a sales rep is developing their sales skills and becoming worse at having a conversation like a normal human being, it comes across as inauthentic and it will push the prospect away. This is why you can have 2 reps with the same script, saying the same words and getting dramatically different results, where one's closing at 18% and the other one's closing at 35%. The difference isn't what they're saying, it's who they show up as when they say it. Sales confidence is like stage presence. You can teach an actor every single line perfectly, but if they deliver it with the energy of a funeral director, the audience isn't going to believe them. So here's the framework to train your sales reps so they actually get better, and your sales team gets to fall into that 10% that gets better and not the 90% that gets worse. So step 1, framework first. Before teaching any tactics, teach them the sales conversation, the structure, situation, problem, consequence, solution. Think of this as teaching them the roadmap before they start driving. Step 2 is one skill or section. Teach them that first, role play it, reinforce it, then pick one specific skill, role play it, give positive feedback mixed with one specific improvement that's very actionable, and then role play again. You notice I didn't say tear them apart and tell them every single thing that they're doing wrong all the time. It's too much and people will lose confidence. Focus on one thing and you perfect it. This is kind of like learning how to juggle, right? You start with 1 ball, then you add in 2, then you add in 3. That's how we actually get it going. Step 3 is going to be confidence. Build this through positive feedback and addressing energy. Listen, this is a game changer. Have them listen back to their best calls and pay attention to their energy level on those calls. Where were they most engaged? What did they sound the most authentic? What pieces 100% landed with the prospects? Because when you can dial back into that, it's very easy to access that and know how you need to show up. Last thing, step 4, is going to be a daily practice assignment. 20 minutes of solo role playing, preferably in the morning, not for an hour, although it can be, but 20 minutes at a minimum. It's like doing push-ups. Consistency beats intensity. And when you do it first thing in the morning, you're not going cold into your first call. You've already practiced some things out and you're not stumbling over your words. And so when we go back to that defeated business owner I mentioned at the beginning of this, we implemented this exact system with his team. We trained the team, and instead of overwhelming them with 47 different techniques, we focused on one skill per week that we identified moved the needle the most to get more sales. We role played that until it felt natural, built their confidence, and reinforced them through positive reinforcement, not negative. And 3 months later, that team's close rate went from 18% to 32%. And more importantly, sales reps started enjoying sales calls again. They stopped sounding like just absolute sales robots and started sounding like trusted advisors you'd actually want to work with. Can you imagine how different that feels as a prospect coming into a conversation with your company? Like, it's massive. And here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Stop training your reps to be perfect. Start training them how to be confident and authentic. Perfect technique with no confidence is like having a Ferrari with no gas. It looks impressive, but it's not going to get you anywhere. Authentic confidence with decent technique is like a reliable Honda. It'll get you where you need to go every single time. And the sales training industry has it backwards. They're trying to create clones of top sales performers instead of helping each rep become the best version of themselves. If you want to be part of that top 10% of sales teams where training actually improves performance, start with this one change. Focus on building confidence, not just technique. Try this with your next training session. Instead of giving your reps 5 things to fix, give them 1 specific improvement and 2 things they did really well. Watch what happens to their energy on the next call. Comment below and tell me, what's the biggest mistake you've seen in sales training? And if this approach works for you and your team, I would love to hear about it. If you got value from this video, hit subscribe for more content on how to create a sales team that wins a championship for you and your company. Remember, great sales reps aren't born, they're built. But they have to be built the right way.